Hey guys, after I did the Boxcar Racer CD review, I had a lot of requests to do a review on the Plus 44 album. So, I mean, I figured why not, answer some questions that I've kind of gotten over the years and whatnot. So, um, overall, I think it's a great album. I don't listen to it that often, but, every time I do, it's always, enjoyable. Overall, like, broad scheme of things, I thought it would have been cool if they stuck with the original lineup with just Mark, Travis, and Carol. That would have been pretty cool. But, things change, all the time. And it was cool that she was at least in a couple of the songs. I know that she was in, like, a demo version of one of the songs. I think it was Cliff Diving, I think. But didn't end up making it on the final version. And obviously, she's in Make You Smile. The guitars on the album, I really just don't find that good. I mean, there's nothing really interesting about the guitars in the majority of the songs. So when people are always asking me to do like guitar covers and stuff like that on it, it just doesn't really interest me because it's not a very guitar driven album. I mean, I look at these songs as more just like good like songwriting themselves more than just, hey, those are fun guitar songs, you know what I mean? A lot of like the Angels and Airwaves stuff can kind of be said for the same thing. Like the songs themselves are great, but they're not really very fun for like a guitar player's perspective. So overall, I mean, there's not really any songs that I don't like. I like them all for different reasons. I got like the faster ones like Lycanthropy and Make You Smile. That one's a relatively faster one. When your heart stops beating, that one's a good one. And I like the slower ones too. There are a decent amount of those. Like Little Death was one of those ones like I thought was a little weird at first, but I really liked the lyrics in that one. And Weatherman, I really like that one a lot. That was probably like one of the first ones I really liked, more than others. I like the synth that they kind of use throughout the album. 155 especially, it sounds really cool on there. I'd like a lot more songs like that personally. I've always been a big synth fan. And I don't know, every time it's used just right, I feel like it makes the song a lot better. It makes it more unique. Chapter 13, that one's always a favorite for people. That one, that one's a pretty big song. I'd say like that one's probably one of the better guitar songs. That one and No It Isn't. No It Isn't's obviously one of the ones that was kind of about the breakup of Blink and that whole thing. I actually kind of like the older version of it a little better, I think. The one that didn't make it on the CD. It didn't have like the whole extended ending part, and it was, it was really stripped down. I thought that was really cool. Lillian's a pretty cool song. I like how it's really bass driven. He's got like some bass effects going on there, and that's definitely one thing that stood out for the album for me. Is just like Mark's bass did not take a back seat at all. I mean, in Blink it never really took a back seat or anything, but it was just, I feel like it was definitely more prominent in this since he was like the main. He was the front man in this one 100%, and the drums too I thought sounded really cool. I mean, I didn't think the drums on this album were necessarily better than anything else Travis has done. I thought it was a pretty standard drum album, at least for Travis. I mean, I'm not a drummer personally, but I feel like some of his other albums that he's worked on, whether it's Boxcar Racer or Blink or Transplants or whatever, I feel like this one for drums might not be up to par with the other ones. That's just me, my personal opinion. But maybe other people think differently. Maybe drummers will think differently. So, what else was I gonna say? overall, I thought the lyrics were cool. You know, Mark always had a very specific writing style where sometimes you just don't know what the hell he's talking about. Um, it's kind of left open to interpretation. So I like that. I mean, I like how everything's not, you know, just spelled out for you. You know, you kind of have to think about it a little bit, and sometimes that, you know, that's a lot better than just very simple lyrics that are, you know, like 100% this is what it means, you know. So I like that. Overall, though, you know, I mean, I like it, but I probably don't like it as much as, you know, like your average Blink fan. And, you know, me personally, I wouldn't really care if they brought back Plus 44 with the whole Blink situation going on right now. I mean, if it happened, cool, you know, whatever, but I wouldn't really love if they brought back Craig and Shane, you know. I don't know, I never really loved what they brought to the album. And live too, you know, I don't know, their presence and just like their personality. I mean, I feel like it didn't really add a lot to the album. I feel like they were pretty much just writing guitars over, you know, whatever Mark wrote for bass. I mean, we all know Mark played guitar and still plays guitar all the time, and it wouldn't surprise me if he wrote all, if it or some of the guitar parts in this album. So maybe that's what it is, because he's kind of just thinking of like a bass player's perspective. But I don't know. I feel like the guitars themselves on this album never really appealed to me, and it made it less of an appealing album overall. You know, that's why I listen to Blink or Boxcar or Angels and Airwaves more than I listen to this, you know. And that has nothing to do with Mark or Mark singing or anything like that. I always liked Mark singing a lot. Maybe not as much as Tom's overall, at least in the studio. I mean, Mark's always been pretty solid studio and live singing. Same can definitely not be said for Tom, but I don't know. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. The interlude, I always have to say something about interludes on whatever album it is, whether, you know, it's Angels and Airwaves or, you know, something else. I never really care for interludes. I like the idea of interludes, but I feel like they always just are so boring. Like they can make like this cool transition, you know, like make it its own song and just like build it up, make it huge, but then it's just nothing, you know. It goes from Cliff Diving, which is, you know, a pretty upbeat song, to the interlude, which, you know, is slow and, you know, nothing really going on, and then just into an even slower song for Weatherman, you know. I feel like an interlude would have been better, like starting after a song like Weatherman and like building up, you know, like fast drums, like heavy fast guitars, stuff like that, and then going into, you know, like a faster song. I mean, that's the kind of interlude I want to hear, but I never really seem to get it from anyone. So I don't know, that's one thing that always bugs me. So overall, I definitely like the album. I'd probably give it maybe like an 8 out of 10, maybe a 7.5. I don't think it's amazing, but, you know, I definitely think it's a solid album. I was gonna say pop punk album, but, you know, I don't really know if I'd call it a pop punk album. I'd say it's more of like a, God, I don't even know, like an alternative rock or like some like post alternative rock. I don't fucking know. Genres are pointless. So anyway, that's all I got to say. If you have any more suggestions for different CD reviews, I mean, I know you guys obviously like the Blink-182 related stuff just because most of you are Blink fans. I know I'm pretty sure I did all the Angels and Airwaves. I don't think I did any of the Blink albums, now that I think of it. I might have done something. I don't know. But anyway, it's obviously more fun for me to do either albums that just came out from bands that I listen to, or bands that I listen to that, like, CDs that, like, are from whenever, you know, a while ago. Even if it's, like, a CD I don't really listen to anymore, if it's something that, like, I got into before but not now. I mean, there's probably a better chance of me reviewing that than me reviewing something from a band I've never listened to, you know. I don't know. I try to be as unbiased as I possibly can. So, yeah, leave some suggestions below, and I'm sure I'll do something. I mean, enough people asked for this Plus 44 one, so, you know, I tried to oblige. So, see you later.